This is not unique to, I think, the CondorBlanco, because even in some of the Eastern traditions, in the Hindu philosophies in India, if you become a monk, the master who actually gives you the initiation changes your name. And a lot of people find it very interesting on why somebody would do that. They say it's to kill your old ego or kill your old, because let's say a name like Peter will have different associations, and you being called something else will almost like death of a name is death of an ego, is death of an identity concept. So I find it interesting that that sort of concepts appear in various parts of the world as well.
I gotta be there. I'm losing my cool. I'm on the edge. Something's taking over me. I'm gonna be down on my knees. You know I'm ready for this. You keep me begging for this.
This is the Ocio show with Rahul, where I have deep conversations with interesting people on topics that are meaningful, slightly personal, and perhaps controversial.
Roll with this. I could do this all day. I could do this all day. Back up, I'ma run this town. I'm headed for the top and you know it's going down.
So welcome, Carolyn, to the Ocio show with Rahul. We are shooting our third episode today. I'm really excited to have you and get into the plethora of fun topics we hope we could cover today. So you are from Brazil.
Yes.
You were with the Merchant Marine, which is the commercial navy arm of Brazil. How did you get there? What happened? Like, did you not get another job, or did you really want to do this?
First, thank you for inviting me. That's such a pleasure to be here in your third podcast.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah, I feel honored. Since I was a kid, that I wanted to be in the military.
Okay. Did you have a
And-
dad or mom in military?
Yes, my dad was in the Air Force. My brother was in the Air Force. And I am from a city where the largest military academy of Latin America is.
And what city is that?
I'm from Resende, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
Got it.
So I got a lot of influence. And I was always like a very disciplined kid, very like nerd, straight A student that loved sports and loved everything. So I felt like being in the military in Brazil was the best choice because of everything that we have to do, study and everything. And
Do you have to pay to be in the military, or do they pay you when you
so
study?
I had to study hard and pass the exams to go to the military academy, the officer academy, and then they paid me
They pay you. Okay.
to study. So
Yeah.
I got instead
Which
of
is a perk, because instead of you paying,
yes,
they pay you, right?
instead of
So-
pay
Yeah.
to have my major, my degree, I got paid. Yeah.
Yeah, which is always a positive. And then you
Exactly.
went into the academy. Was it what? How many years was the?
So the theoretical part of the
Yeah.
academy was 3 years in a boarding school and in the under the military, under the Navy.
Was this undergraduate degree?
Yes. I got a bachelor in
3 year.
nautical science. Yes, and also to graduate, we have to spend 365 days on board. So there's the theory and the practice. So after I got my 365 days on board, which is like a whole day, a whole year, then I got my degree.
So for the 365 days, do you continuously be on the ship for 365 days, or you come
In
on
my
board and it
case-
took 2-3 years for
In
you
my
to do
case, yes, it was 365 days in a row.
that? So you didn't see your parents for like a year?
Well, once I saw them, when one of the ships that I was, they anchored in Rio, and then I asked the captain to, hey, it's Mother's Day. Can I invite my parents, my brother, to come to the port and we have lunch together, and then I come back. So that was like a huge adventure too, because I had to. The ship was anchored
Yeah.
in the bay, and then I had to go.
So is the Rio
in the-
port right next to like Copacabana Beach or something, or was it somewhere harbor is somewhere there?
No,
Well, that's the Rio everybody knows, the Ipanema Beach and
Yes,
the
it is.
Copacabana.
It is close.
Okay.
Yeah, but we didn't go there. We just
And is Rio one of the major ports in Brazil?
Yes.
For the military.
one of the major
Right.
ports. Yes.
And you had a special test to get in, and was that hard, or was that
It's all the military academies. They are one of the
toughest
hardest,
to get into?
to get in, and this one specifically, it was the hardest one in English. So when you want to study English or test your English to go to university, usually if you want to really test, you take like past exams from that specific school that I went to.
I see.
Yeah.
So this was Merchant Marine.
Yeah.
Was there another Navy test that people could take for being a Navy captain, which is different from Merchant
Yes,
Marine?
to be in the Navy, there is another school,
Got
and at least when I applied, women couldn't apply to that school, to the Navy.
What about Army or Air Force? Women could apply?
Air Force, yes, and that was like my first try. I really want to be a fighter pilot for
The
the Air
Top
Force,
Gun
and
in Brazil,
I applied. I was third place in the whole country. I was in, and then their health exam is really tough, and I didn't pass. And I was like, wait a second, I'm healthy.
What's your
is my
eyesight?
disease?
Did you
like,
have?
tell me.
Yeah.
No,
Did
my
you have
eyesight's like 20/20.
Yeah.
And actually, they cut me off because of my height and my weight.
Oh.
And I was like,
Like you were too tall for them? No, too
I'm too short.
too short. Okay.
I needed 9 centimeters and 10
Oh, yeah,
kilograms,
okay.
like 5 pounds.
More.
More.
Okay.
And then I tried.
That was easy. Just have a Big
I-
Mac or something.
I tried. I went to the gym. I bought that like mass.
the protein
yes.
powder.
And then I started like
But the height,
working
you
out
can't
for
do
it. And
anything
then
about the height.
my first, I tried stretching and everything. And then the first thing that I got fatter was my face. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Where is the plan B? I'm not doing it.
I kind of go to like the places I wanted to go, All right. So then you couldn't get in. You were disappointed, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but then it was like a right shift. Okay, didn't work.
Okay.
What
Go
is
to the next one.
Yeah.
So you could go into Air Force, Army, military, Merchant Marine. Is there another division of armed forces in Brazil that people could go into? Like, do they have, they call it the Marine Corps here, but it's slightly different, I think.
Not in
Not that you're
Brazil.
aware
You
of.
could
Okay.
at least
Space Force is there here as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So there is another institute that's like the Military Institute of Technology,
I see.
and they have it in the Air
So
Force
the engineering,
and the Army.
they try to build the missiles and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and that was my second option. I started that those are the hardest exams in Brazil, top one, and I studied 2 years after I didn't get into the Air Force. I went to specific courses to
I see.
really.
So you got into this Merchant Marine 2 years after your
2 years
high
after.
school.
Yes.
So you like spent 2 years just heads down.
Focusing on the Institute of Engineering of Technology, and I was approved. I was like 117 out of thousands and thousands of people that apply, and usually they call like 130, 134. So everybody was like, "Oh my God, you got in,
get in,
Caroline!" Woo. I was like, "No, let's wait for the list."
Don't jinx it.
Yes, and then at that year, only that year, instead of calling 140, 130, they called 88 people. So I was 117.
The gods of
and I did that. I was
military
not
engineering conspiring against you.
Yeah, so I was meant to be in the Merchant Marine
All
and
right.
do everything that I did and see
Merchant
everything that I
Marine.
saw that brought me here today.
Let's talk about your Merchant Marine experience. So you said how you get into the profession. And that's the only college that you could attend to get into Merchant Marine, or there are multiple?
There are
of
two
these?
ways to do it. One is through the Navy, and another one is you do a degree. It can be engineering, can be, there's a list of majors that you can get. And then there is like 1 year course called Azon that you can get into the piloting course. And then when you graduate, you can have the same certification as we do as pilots.
I see.
Yeah.
Got it. And then you did the 365-day training, and then they hire you. You get a job for sure. Is that how it works?
So it's not related to the Navy, so it's not guaranteed. But you have to apply for jobs as a normal person. So you
Okay.
become a civilian after that, and if you got a good internship, if you have good connections,
You can get the job.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
And where did you end up? So right after.
so I did the 365 days, and during those 365 days, you're considered like deck cadet. Like you are doing your internship, but after 3 months, 6 months, depending on your level, you can become a deck officer, or they start treating you as a deck
Deck officer.
which is the next.
But you still have to apply for the jobs, which you did.
Well, it's an exception that they do. If you are really good at what you do, then you can start doing
Okay.
the profession, or being on the bridge by yourself and taking the responsibility and
it.
everything.
And then who employed you? So right after, were you employed by the Navy or by a private company?
It is by a private
Company,
Company,
okay.
yes.
But you have all the skill sets because now you were trained by the Merchant Marine, and then you started working. And so what was your job like? Like what did you have to do?
A lot of things happened during the 365 days that I decided not to continue.
Oh, you decided not to continue. You're like, I got a taste of my life,
Yes.
and then I'm like, okay, this is too much for me.
Well,
Or like you're like, I'm done.
there is a lot to it. I loved my work there.
Okay.
And the crew members, the life, even being like the only woman on board, that was not a challenge for me. And
How big of a ship are we talking about here?
it's like 100 meters long.
And how many crew members would be there?
During the 365 days, I went to 4 different ships. So in the Merchant Marine, you have 2 branches. You have the offshore branch, which is the branch where everything that the oil rig can't do by itself, they need supply vessels to come and do some operation with them, some maintenance or bring supplies. So there are 6 different types of ships built.
You're like Uber
completely
Eats for oil
different.
rigs, basically.
There's one type of ship that is that's
Okay.
the supply vessel.
Yeah.
That brings the containers and everything, and bring the food, bring equipments, bring everything. The PSV, platform supply vessel. That's one type of ship. It's designed in a very specific way to do a specific type of operation. So, and there are AHTS, which is Anchor Handling Tug Supply Vessel, which is a very specific ship that anchors and unanchor an oil rig and then tug the oil rig to this its
So that's like a
next
heavy
location.
duty
It's operation. Yeah.
towboat, basically.
Exactly, but like huge.
Huge.
Those are like the biggest
Okay.
ones.
And which one did you work in?
I worked in the HTS, a very specific one. There is only one of a kind that we do the repair on the rows, on the hose that does the offloading of the platform, of the oil from a platform to the oil tank. And it requires a very specific
Repair.
reel to collect that very huge.
So do you have like these divers on your crew? They have to like
Yes.
jump off and do scuba gear and go
I
down.
was there. So divers, they are passengers in the ship that the crew members operate. So
Got it. So
the
they're
crew
like
members are the ones that are responsible for the ship.
yeah.
And the navigation, the safety, everything that has to do with firefighting. We do the drills and do the repair and maintenance of the firefighting equipments and everything. Piracy, we are responsible for making
Are there
sure
pirates
that...
in Brazil?
Yeah.
I've heard of pirates in Somalia, but like or the pirates of the Caribbean.
So in Brazil, it's not common. to have like people to get into
jump on board.
the boat to steal.
But you're trained
things or-
to navigate that.
Yes.
What do you do? You spray the water on them.
There
like
are
the
there are
movie?
many ways to shush
Yeah.
people away. But in my experience in Brazil, usually when some ship like fishing boats approach, is because they want to fish. And when we are operating with the oil rig, the ship stays for sometimes a long period of time in one position, close to the oil rig, just waiting for the operation to start. And the fishes start eating the bottom of the ship because it stayed there for enough time for the fishes to come and eat from the ship. And the
So then the
fishermen
fishermen
come.
kind
Yeah,
of
but
get
it's
that.
dangerous because we have thrusters on all the sides, like here on the back and here. So if the net goes in the thruster, we can't operate.
Yeah.
So it's very dangerous for them and for us. So we have to make sure to
go
let
away.
them know, and we have to remind them all the time to do not come close because they want the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, where the fish is, the fishermen go. Have you guys collided with an oil rig ever?
Almost. It was my first boat ever. I've never been on an offshore ship before. And as a student, right, as a newbie, I was reading all the manuals, I was asking questions, and I was getting to know everything because one day I would be the one in charge. So I want to be able to, as soon as possible, be that person inside, And
It's a
and
hard thing
then-
for me to go park a Ford pickup. Imagine parking a big ship. Yeah?
Exactly. And in the middle of the ocean, you have to park very close to the platform to do the operation. And there is this very specific equipment that we have to be trained to operate. That's called DP, dynamic positioning. It's a specific system that the offshore ships they have to control those thrusters in a way that will keep the ship in position. And we have to monitor that specific equipment 24/7 while it's on. So nobody can leave that chair, and the person, the officer, has to be watching that screen of that specific equipment while it's on. And when we are approaching the oil rig, it's on, right? And one day we were approaching the oil rig, and I was just watching. I was the student, right? Don't look at me. I'm just watching. And then the officer, I was shadowing the officer, and then I saw one thruster was like red, and then I was like, "Hey, officer, do you see this red? What is this?" I was like, "Oh no, that's normal." And I'm like, "I've been here for a month. I've never seen it. No, it's normal. It's an old ship." I was like, "It's an old ship, but this system is new." And I was like, "Okay." And then I was like, "Captain, do you see this red thing here?" And I was like, it's normal. Don't worry about it." And I was like, on my book, that's not normal. And then we were approaching the oil rig, and 1 minute after I said that, the entire ship started trembling like this. Even
Because
like
it hit something?
even
or-
the computer
Yeah.
that was screwed on the table jumped. Everything just went off, took off. And what happened was that the thruster was demanding too much energy of the thruster. The thruster just took off, and it was accelerating the ship. So there is one thruster here, right? So what happened was that this thruster was going really fast. We were approaching, and this one took off. So it was approaching really fast, the oil rig. And because of it took off really fast, so the air inside too, that's why it started trembling. And then what happened was that the deck officer didn't know what was happening. The captain didn't know what was happening. Everybody, the chief officer was there. Everybody that could be on the ship that could solve the problem were on the bridge. And then apparently I was the only one that knew what was happening. And then the deck officer left the chair, which they were not supposed to do. And I was just watching the the ship going really fast towards the
So
platform.
like a Titanic moment.
Yes, and then and then in my head everything froze, and then I was like, okay, they are the experts, and unfortunately they were also very like know-it-all. So if a new person comes to them like, hey, you should do this, they would probably be like,
what are you talking
what you're talking
about?
about?
Like,
Shut up, let us fix it.
You think it's also
So,
because you were a woman
in
in
my
that
mind,
environment? Or
I
is it
don't
because
think
you were
so.
junior?
I don't think so. But everything happened in my mind. I was like, okay, I know what we should be doing, but if I tell them what to do, they'll shush me, and we are gonna crash it because of their ego or something. So in seconds, I had to, okay, what should I do? Because in my mind, it was like they should do an emergency stop of the thruster, and then the chief officer went to the table where the emergency stop would be, and the captain went to the front where she could change the bowl of the ship. I had to like, okay, how do I tell the chief mate to emergency stop? So I was like, in seconds, I was like, oh, maybe we could. I don't remember exactly what I said, but
You're
it was
trying to
more like,
tiptoe around. Hey,
it's like, oh,
it'd be
maybe
good
we
to do
could,
it.
maybe, I don't know, emergency stop. And you know what he said? I got an idea. I'm going to emergency stop the
stop.
thruster. I was like, I said that.
Yeah,
but good he thinks
I
that
said the
it's
same
his
thing,
idea, And, okay, he's emergency stopping the thruster, but the ship, the inertia of the ship was still moving. And then the captain changed the bowl really fast to the other side. So what happened was that the ship was moving really fast to the on the other way, and then I moved to the back, and then I was seeing how fast the stern of the ship was moving towards the outer rig, and then I told the captain, the stern is moving very fast towards the platform. Like I said, in this level, and then they didn't listen, and then I yelled, Captain, the stern is gonna collide to the platform. Stop it! And then the captain moved forward, and then we took off. And then if you watch from outside, the people in the platform would be like, what did they do? What? Like, why did they come so close and then left?
What would have happened if it collided? Do you think that would have killed the platform?
In the end, when we left, the captain lay down on the floor and started shaking. Why? Because if they collide and there is an oil spill, they go to prison.
Oh, in Brazil.
Because of the size of the oil spill. If
It almost would be like the Gulf of Mexico oil spill that happened in... that was a BP spill, right? That was a while ago.
Yes, it's like millions and millions of barrels.
Yeah, and fishes dying and, all of that.
Yeah, in 2010. And an oil spill, to be reported, it has to be at least 42 gallons. And then what happens, and the reason why I left the merchant marine, is because I was seeing oil spills every day.
Every day.
Every day.
But it's not 42 gallons.
And then and then when I asked the captain, I was like, Captain, what can we do?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can take the radio and tell the captain of the platform that you see some spill, but there's nothing they can do. But because the operation itself to extract oil, it spills oil naturally from a couple to a couple dozens of barrels a day. So today we have more than 500 offshore oil rigs in the world. Imagine a couple to a couple dozens of barrels a day from 500 oil rigs. It's like from 2010 that the Deepwater Horizon spill happened. From 2010 to today, just by operating, just by existing, the oil rigs spilled the equivalent of 5 Deepwater Horizon spills just by operating. It's like a couple barrels here, a couple barrels there. We have 5 of the biggest oil spills in the
So
world.
it's like what, collateral
Exist.
damage, like when oil is a necessity, so you just live with it, probably, huh? Or maybe that's why we need solar.
Or exactly. So I'm not a hypocrite to say or to believe that we don't need oil right now. We do, but at the same time, what made me leave the merchant marine was, okay, I don't want to spend my lifetime contributing to this side
oil.
of the force.
But did the merchant marine only fix oil rigs, or in your line of jobs?
Yes, so there, as I said, there are 2 branches in the merchant marine. One is offshore, everything around oil rig, and pays better, right? So in the
Of course,
second one,
oil pays, huh?
and the second one is transportation. So the Maersk, the container ships, or liquid gas, and
So you're
grains.
assisting, but Maersk ships, they have their own crew, and so you'll be hired as one of the crew
I
on the
would
ship.
be the deck officer,
Got it.
the
Okay.
captain in Maersk.
You didn't want to go that route, though?
I mean, I think everything happens
But
for
your
a
life will
reason.
be on the sea. You'll have to marry someone in the sea or
So
something.
I
you know?
think everything. I think everything happens for a reason. I was supposed to be there to have that awakening of like, wow, I love here. It's fun. Like, other people think other things are fun. AI is fun. VR is fun. For me, it was fun to be in the middle of the ocean and learn how to weld and learn something different every day. That was fun. However, what else? What is the result of my work? You know, do I want to spend my lifetime contributing
Hey,
with my
BP stock
talents?
price going up, that's...
I mean, like, money. Okay, money.
yeah.
What else? What else am I doing? What's gonna be my legacy 10, 20 years from now? You know, and I only live once. So do I want to spend my lifetime destroying the planet or saving
Yeah.
it? So that's what
And how-
made me to shift. It's not because it was not for me or because
Yeah.
I didn't whatever. No.
So in your
I loved
course or
everything
in
there.
your ships, what percentage were women?
In Brazil, it's more common to have women on board than in other countries.
Okay.
So
Is there a reason why? Because they seek out women for these? Because generally doing physical labor in these ships are generally a man's job in a lot of parts of the world. So, is that uncommon in Brazil?
I think Brazilian women are built different. I
You think they're
believe.
sturdier?
I believe.
They're like getting their hands dirty about
Yes,
stuff?
let's do
Okay.
it. You know,
Uh-huh.
and I think we are built different, and I think we have more opportunities there in the merchant marine. And also, the army, you started getting women in the as officers just recently because women wanted to be in the army and as officers. And I think it's yeah.
I think sometimes necessity is the mother of invention. Like I know in Israel, for example, you have everybody serve in the military school for like a few years because they don't have much people. I think when they don't have enough men to do the jobs, like they have to increase the pool, voluntary service in various countries. But how was it being a woman in the military academy and also the ship? I'm sure were you among the few that were there?
Yeah, so in my class,
Yeah.
we had 245 people, 40 were women.
So that's like 1/6, so like 15%,
Yeah.
which is lower than even tech.
Yes, and it's funny because I grew up the only woman playing soccer with all boys, the only woman playing basketball with all boys. So for me, it was normal.
So you were comfortable in a mostly male dominated
I was comfortable,
situation.
and I started seeing different situations that I didn't know they were treating me differently because I was a woman. But because I approached it as a person and not as a woman, whatever that means. But because I approached that as a person,
They
things
included
changed.
you. Okay.
Yeah, for example, when right after the boot camp, I was the number 6 out of 245 people. So I was the chief of the 6th classroom. And mostly men were under
But how do they
me.
rate? Like your test scores or like physical tests and all that?
Physical
or
test and the test
written
that
tests?
written test and
But
physical
could you hold
exam.
up with all the men on the physical military
Oh yeah,
drills
in
and
the
all
boot
that?
camp.
Yeah.
In the boot camp, there was this
like push-ups, like,
sergeant,
come on.
the driller, the sergeant drill. That's how you say it, sergeant driller. No, the drill sergeant.
Drill
Sergeant.
sergeant.
The drill sergeant. He heard that I could do 100 push-ups, and then we were in the auditorium that day, and
Could you
then
still do 100 push-ups?
I can do like 40.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then
We'll have a
we
separate show for that. Yeah?
we were in the auditorium, and the goal of being in the auditorium, as during the boot camp, you just stare to nothing, and they scream at you. That's the goal. And then
Okay.
they yell at you, bad things, whatever. And then he came, and then you come with me. And then we went to the back of the auditorium, and I was like, what is happening? What is he gonna do to me? I didn't know what was happening because we were supposed to just stay there and not move, which is really
Yeah.
uncomfortable, and you're not sleeping and yada yada. So many things happening, and then in the back of the auditorium, he was like, "Let's do 100,"
Okay.
and I was like, "Okay," and then he was counting.
Yeah.
And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then
Is that video on Instagram?
the video. No, it was like on the back of the back for nobody to see.
You should have taken that video.
And then-
That would have gotten like a
can't
few
have-
million hits.
We
huh?
can't have a cell phone during the boot camp. So he brought me to the back. Nobody was watching. And then I was like, that is weird. And then when we were close to 40, 50, 60, he started like trembling. And then his breath was going away. And I was like, just waiting for his count,
Yeah.
like 60. And I was like, okay. And then he was like really hard, the last ones. And I was like, what is happening? Is he testing me, or I don't know what to do now because he can't do it, but I'm okay.
I see.
And then when we were close to 70, 75, I told him, like, we don't have to do it. Like, I will not tell anyone.
But why is he doing
He
this
wanted to
because-
challenge me.
Challenge you? Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
like,
were you
oh,
like
you
the
can
top-
do 100?
Top push-up person on the team?
I think, I don't know, I think so, because they talked to them.
So he was your superior?
He was not even on my group. He heard from someone that was from my group, and he was, because it's divided into like 7 class, and he was not even from my class.
Yeah.
So like, why are you even talking to me?
Yeah.
So that was like super weird. But at the same time, he just wanted to challenge himself. But then at the same time, I told him, I was like, hey,
He's
we
like,
don't
a girl
have to
can't be
do
better
that.
than me.
Yes, that.
yeah.
So I went through my whole life with facing guys like that.
Yeah,
That's like, no,
yeah.
a girl can be. I can. Well,
Yeah.
women can be as we don't do that to be better.
Sure.
We just are sometimes. Like I'm not competing with you. I'm just being myself. And then by the end of the boot camp, I realized I was doing like 200 push-ups a day. When I was like, when I was doing like, I remember one day.
These are
when
like
I was
half
doing my-
push-ups or like you're actually going
Full,
down? Okay,
up and down.
that's
And
impressive.
then during the boot camp, they forced the women to do push-ups with their knees. And I said, no, I'm not going to do with my knee because
Like, I
all
want
the
to
women...
do it like a man.
No, all the women had their knees bleeding.
Ah.
And I was like, if I do push-ups with my knees, I won't be able to run because I'll be hurting.
But
And
it's easier to do push-ups with the knee, I believe, right?
it is,
even
but
though
not
it
in the
might-
concrete.
Ah.
I was like, no, I'm not using my knees. Oh, but you can't because you're a woman. I can and I will. Excuse me. It's my
Was
they
that-
say if you do push-ups without your knees, you're gonna have reproducctive problems.
Oh.
And I was like, no, I do since I was 5 years old. I will be fine. Don't worry about me.
Okay. All right. I didn't know. That was a first. We'll fact check that
Yeah.
in post-production.
yeah,
Was
it's
there any other interesting situations as a woman in
lot.
military or navy or ship?
Yeah, there are at least 3 stories that come to
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
So after the boot camp, I was as I was saying, I was the chief of the 6th class, and I was responsible to make sure that everybody was in the classroom, give presence and absentee to people who were
The class
there.
monitor.
Yes, the class
Okay.
monitor. And then by the end of the class, at the beginning of the class, I had to give the presence absentee list to the professor, and the professor sign. And what happened is that some guys skipped class, went to their cabin, their dorms, and that was illegal. They could be like, in prison for being outside of the classroom, like in their dorms, while they should be in the classroom.
Yeah.
So it's a problem for them, and it's a problem for me because I didn't want to give absentee for them. Because if I give absentee for them and the professor notice, the lieutenant will immediately know they were not there, and then they'll be mad at me because I did my job, but at the same time, I didn't want them to go to prison. So I was like, you know what? That's not working. And the classroom was half empty, so I couldn't just give all presents to the professor, and the professor would know. And I was like, you know what? The next time a guy left the classroom and I knew he wouldn't come back, I was like, hey, can I talk to you really quickly? I know you're busy, but I know you're running somewhere to do something very important. Can I talk to you really quickly? And then it's like, did you know that I'm the only person that is in touch with the lieutenant? That I'm the first person to know when the lieutenant is gonna do a surprise inspection in the dorms, and I'm the only person who can help you to do not be caught.
So what happened? How did I mean?
And
Was it weird coming from a woman for
From
the
a-
hem?
So I was talking as a person,
as a colleague.
as a colleague. And you know what? I'm the only person that can
Yeah.
help you, and I don't want to give absentee for you guys.
And then what happened?
And then, long story short, he was like, I didn't know you were like that. I thought you were like the other girls who are class monitors too, that they were giving absentee for everyone. It's like, yeah, you were wrong, so you're gonna leave your consequences.
You are not ratting out one
And
of
I was
your
like,
kind, huh?
What? Yes,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
thought.
You're not a
they-
snitch.
They were
yeah.
putting me because I was a woman into this box of what women were
But
doing.
how much of that is true? Do you think it's
And then, you know what
women have
happens?
different standards than the bro code where they cover for each other sort of thing?
I think
In general,
again.
you can be candid. Like you could.
I think it depends from person to person.
Yeah.
Men can be.
Who has
Like
a
that
better
too.
code? Is it the bro code or the cis code? In military or in merchant marine?
I don't see that division.
No,
because-
generally what I've seen, of course, in tech and a lot of professions, there is generally a bro code, hanging out, getting happy hour drinks and all that. Like generally, a lot of women don't socialize that way, and you've heard about people looking out for each other. You know what I mean? Like the bro community. So do you feel that exists in the professions you did?
So this bro culture, it's like you guys take care of each other, right? It's like it's a you
Because
show
you're
love.
considered part of the kind.
You show love, right? So what is not love? It's a request for love. What is not love is a request for love. So if you're being treated badly by someone, it can be men or women, it's their way of requesting. It's like, I'm not being treated well here. I don't feel safe here. And that's why I'm reacting that way.
So going back to, so you saved a ship from colliding in the oil rig. I remember you mentioning somebody got something stolen. What happened? Tell us.
So just to close the story
Yes.
with the classmate, and then I will go to...
Yes.
So what happened was that I talked to him, and he was like, oh my God, I didn't know you were like that. And then I told him, okay, I didn't even know I was in that box that you put me. And please let your friends know that I want this classroom full, because I can't give a list full of presency to the professor and the classroom is empty. So do your thing, alternate whoever is going to go to the dorms or that day. create a schedule. I don't know, but we need this classroom full for this to work. The next day, the class was full.
Yeah.
And then all the guys that were like skipping class, they were like, thank you. And then it was a win-win
So you found, so I think that's an
relationship.
important point to mention, because I think a lot of women don't find it, but I think you found a way to work with men in a male-dominated environment, and you just had to, I don't know, crack that code, whatever that code is.
And the code is treating people as people, because I believe that feminism, whatever that means to different people, but feminism is this radical idea that women are people too. So only men are people. When you talk about the male perspective, you don't talk about the male perspective. You talk about people in
people.
general. But like, wait a second. No, women are people. And the first person that we have to convince who are people is us, women. So I am a person. I'm a full person, capable of everything, as much as men are.
Yeah.
Every person is. So I have to be the first person to be convinced of that.
All lives matter is also...
Also that. Like, my life matters first. So I have to be convinced of that first. And then I'll be able to approach the world like that.
Yeah.
And then more I put it out in the world, more I'm going to receive of that. So in that case, I didn't know they were treating me differently and not talking to me because I was a woman. I didn't know that. But because I approached that situation as a person, and then I was like, I'm going to talk to them as a person. I'm not shaming them. I'm not saying that they're bad for doing. I'm not.
But women do have real problems in terms of getting stuff stolen, don't they? Of getting stuff stolen from their doms, from their laundry.
Oh, so it was so that was a very bad experience. A friend of mine had while on the ship. She was already an officer,
Yeah.
and you do laundry. Everyone together, right in the laundry room in the ship.
It's like a laundromat in
Yes.
in a public
So
laundromat.
that you don't have to pay.
Yeah, sure.
And she had this experience of catching a man opening her clothes, her laundry, and sniffing her underwear.
Okay.
And I was like, and then she
So
I
like
was
the
like,
underwear thief, that
Yes.
doesn't happen anywhere.
And then I was like, that is unbelievable. Like, how someone could even think of that about someone else. And I think that happens because there is a cliff, there is a bridge, there is like a distance between those two worlds. Because I'm 100% sure that man wouldn't have done that to their daughters. To their cousins, to someone that they truly know and that they nourish and they love as a person. I'm 100% sure they wouldn't do that and treat her as a piece of meat,
Yeah.
So there, because
But
of
that's
that
an
distance-
HR issue probably a lot of men don't have to complain about, I'm guessing, in merchant marines. Huh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's a different HR issue for
So
women.
we have different issues that we
Yes,
have
as a
to
woman.
overthink and predict
Yeah.
when we are dealing with men
So
in general.
as we get to the conclusion of your sort of life, I mean, this is a great insight into the whole merchant marine world as a woman in Brazil. Looking back, what are the major lessons learned in that period, like that you still take to life?
We can find joy in everything, and we don't have to feel ashamed for the things that we love doing. I loved being a ship's pilot.
And
I
were you ashamed
love
of
doing-
that because you're a woman and you were not supposed to
Oh no,
like
not
it?
the woman thing is not even in the picture for me. It's more like I was helping to destroy the planet by extracting oil, and everything that we did that was oil spills. So that thing really really hurt me in that way. But I loved it. Was fun. It was fun. And another lesson is
The
not
what was
everything-
fun. The how was fun. The what was not too much fun.
So the fun, I love learning and I love challenge. Every day on board, it can be the same ship, but you learn something different.
New.
Oh, this I've never
It's almost
noticed
like being
this.
a management consultant in a consulting company.
Yeah,
different
but at the
clients.
same time, like, oh, there's this tube here. I've never noticed this. Like, where's the plant? And then you follow that tube for the first time in your life, and then you find a new tank that was not even on the plant.
So learning new things.
Learn new
Okay.
things, and the challenge, the adventure, the challenge of like also being a woman and dealing with everything that comes with that, and people thinking that you won't be able to accomplish something, and wearing your whole PPE, going outside and doing the inspections and telling the deck crew to do things and do.
Got it.
So all the challenge of that, I really loved that too. I learned how to weld in my free time. In my free time, I was wearing my whole PPE and going to and meet with the
And
the
PPE is a
PPE,
suit?
personal
PPE,
protective,
personal protective equipment. Okay.
Yeah, overall hard hat, gloves, and safety
yeah,
boots
yeah.
and things like that.
That's great. This has been amazing. A little glimpse into Caroline's merchant marine life. We will take a quick break and we will come back for the next segment on completely different topic.
Different lives.
Thank you. Welcome back, Caroline, to our second segment of our conversation today. So we got a little glimpse into your career in merchant marine in Brazil, and then you moved to Santa Cruz Mountains. You changed your life. What happened?
From there, I decided I even though I loved it, I realized that it was not how I want to spend my lifetime polluting the planet. And I also figured out, I saw the captain's life, and like seeing my life 20, 30 years from now, that's not the life I wanted for me, even though it was a perfect fit for them. That was not what I wanted for my life. So I decided to do not come back. And I took a whole sabbatical that I didn't know it would be a sabbatical to realize what I would do next. And because I want to use my talents, that energy, that love for challenges and love for learning to something
Yeah.
that
So you were-
would help the planet.
But
not
you
help
went to
destroy
a
it.
business school after that at some point. right?
Yes.
And then you discovered spirituality. Is
During that sabbatical that I was like learning about myself, and I met a
and
career
this was
coach
before the business school.
before, because I
Okay.
didn't know what to do.
Got it.
Because I wanted equally
Yeah.
quantum physics
Yeah.
and
And where did
judo
you go? Where did
and
you go for this sabbatical?
everything. I was in Brazil.
Brazil.
However, I was going deep into myself to understand what I really wanted to do. And that wait, okay, should I do what I want or the thing that brings money? Should I follow money or follow my passion? Should I listen to this voice telling me to leave all these years that I studied hard to get into this profession because I want to do something positive and help the world to become more sustainable? Or should I follow the money and come back to the merchant marine? So that was this conflict that I think a lot of people also go through when they're doing a career transition. And I met a career coach, and then she realized that I did a test, and then she figured out that there's this like disc test that she was like, oh, it usually shows that you're 40% compatible to 2 professions. You should do this test. It's really precise. I was like, yes, I need someone to tell me what to do. And then I did the test, and then she was like, actually, you are more than 60% compatible to more than 700 professions. So you literally can do whatever you want. And I was like, thank
That's
you.
not
I'm
helpful.
flattered, but it doesn't help.
Yeah.
So we had to do more work. And I started studying entrepreneurship and innovation, and met the Peter Diamond's, the book, Bold and Abundance and everything, Singularity University, started learning more about it, creativity. And I was like, wow, I can study innovation? How do I do that? I want that. I want to do something positive and do something different and positive, things that I couldn't do in my formal profession.
And when did you come to? Then you came to US.
Yes, and then I was like, I'm going to study innovation in Silicon Valley. And I applied for this master in international business and disruptive innovation in San Francisco, lived in San Francisco for 5 years here in Columbus.
Yeah.
And then there, I learned about social innovation and how to create businesses that will create positive impact while earning.
Is that
money.
how you discovered your spiritual community? That what led into that?
So to realize what I really want to do, I met a bunch of coaches, and none of them could actually tell me, "Oh, you should do this," or I couldn't get answers. So I met one of these coaches, and he told me, "Oh, you know what? I don't know how to help you because you literally can do anything. You have all the talents, all the potential, and the passion. So maybe you should become a coach and coach yourself." And I was like, "Is that possible? If it is, sign me up. Let's do this." So I graduated as a coach to coach myself throughout the whole program. I was
It's
focusing
like somebody
on myself.
telling you, "Hey, I have cancer. Okay, become a radiologist and then cure cancer yourself."
Exactly. So it's
like, "Go take a
mostly
hike."
like that.
But you
So
did. You did.
I did, and it was very powerful. And there, I put my toe in the water of spirituality because the person who founded that coaching program that I signed up for is a shaman.
What's it called? And where are they located?
They are in Chile, and the organization is called CondorBlanco International.
Are
And
they in
are
Santiago
everywhere.
or the mountains somewhere?
It is close to Patagonia in Pucón. They're in a forest reserve there in a mountain. That's where he lives. The headquarters is there. And every summer they have specific activities. And for example, the master coaching graduation is in the mountain. So the training that I got was really holistic because this teacher,
How long is this training for?
the first training is 3 months long because to
become a coach.
to become a coach, because you have to learn the theory and get immersed to what coaching is, and also you have to coach at least 4 or 5 people to get the certification. So you have the practice. So it takes some time because of that mentorship that you get from coaching people. And with in my first session that I had, the person didn't know it was my first session ever. My coachee didn't know. And then every session, after each session, I ask from 0 to 10, how worthy was it to be here today? And what did you learn from being here today? And then he was like, "Oh my God, that was 11 out of 10. That was amazing. You taught me this, you showed me that. And I could realize this and that." And I was like, oh my God, his eyes was shining differently, and I could see like
I might
his
be good at
fire
this.
was lit, and I was like, wow, I want to do that for the rest of my life. So that was when I realized
So that's a huge
what I wanted.
step change from international business to coaching. I mean, were your parents upset that you went for international business and ended up coaching?
So my parents wanted me to go to something stable, military, do some work for the government to be stable.
Yeah, paycheck. Yeah.
Every time that in my sabbatical, my father was like, "Have you applied to any merchant marine company yet? What about now? Oh, I saw this government job. You should apply." It's like, "Dad, I'm finding myself right now." But for them, it's hard for them to understand, because they love us, and how they show it is completely different sometimes of how we truly need, So I needed to figure out who I was and how to put my talents
Don't show
and
this
my
video to your
passions.
dad, huh?
No, I can. I talk to them about it every time, and because our first profession is usually very influence our first
by the parents.
because
in
that's
most
all we
part of the
know.
world.
Like they are our world. So that's why usually we follow our parents profession, because that's all we know and we want
So
to
you-
honor them too.
and-
So we follow that.
and
But
you-
after that was like, oh, we have that shock. It's like, is that what I truly want? And that's when the self-awareness, you start realizing that you are your own person and you have to take your own choices. And even though you thought you were taking your own choices before, there was some influence that now you have to replace those inner mother, inner father voices with your own voice.
So you did this training, and the first coaching was great, and then all the way that you're now on this path, that you changed your name and you live in Santa Cruz Mountains. So tell us about the name change. What happened? Why?
Yeah. So when I heard of a spiritual teacher, I got very skeptical, and I was like, "Who is this person?"
Because you were
Like,
raised Catholic.
Christian. I was going to church, and I loved Jesus and Jesus all the way, and then I'm like, this is weird. But at the same time, I went and did my master coaching graduation in the mountain, and then I met him in person. And I don't know if you have met a spiritual teacher. There are many spiritual teachers. The same way that there are mathematics teachers, there are English teachers, there are spiritual teachers that go deep into learning spirituality. I was very skeptical, but now it's simpler to me, and to that level, you know. And I don't know if you have met a spiritual teacher before, but they know things about you just by looking at you. They know
There's a lot
you.
of things to read through your aura or through
Yes. So that
reading in
was-
between lines.
So meeting him was really powerful in that sense. I was not convinced.
What is his name? And
His name
what
is
is he runs the CondorBlanco community. I
Yes. So he doesn't run it anymore. He has other people running it. But he is still the spiritual teacher. And his name is Surjavan Sola. I've studied from different spiritual teachers, reading Yogananda, and because I love learning about spirituality, philosophy. And what I really love about Surjavan Sola that really made me like, you know what, I like this guy, is that he joins the ancestral knowledge and values, indigenous values, to the new technology, marketing, innovation. He doesn't
discard AI,
no,
right?
No,
Or he doesn't
like bring. Oh, you know AI? Come to my tribe. Come, like.
So would you
let's-
consider
and then
him as your?
He helps people to build a life with both, not this or that, and so how to live a life with and it's not work and personal life.
Would you
It is-
consider him as your guru? Somebody you listen to from for the matters of insight or spiritual matters. Someone's opinion who you trust.
Oh yeah, I trust him, his opinion, and at the same time, as a spiritual teacher who is incarnated, let's say like that, who
Yeah.
is here with us, like Jesus was here walking on this planet
Some point. Yeah.
at some point, and as a teacher, his role as a teacher who is here among us right now in flesh is to confront us. Jesus is not in flesh here with us, so our memory of him is like this enlightened and peaceful and good being. However, when he was here, he was also angry and also telling people to do not do things and pointing like, don't do this.
Yeah, the messiahs or the prophets that never worship while they're alive also, because people
Exactly.
don't recognize them.
Yeah, and I do know that it's really hard, like for Christians. If I ask Christians today, if Jesus was here in front of you, would you worship him right now in flesh, or would you also question?
Of course, there are people. It's easier to worship somebody above the clouds rather than worship somebody.
Yeah, so
in
that's the
person.
role of the teacher who is not in flesh, and he will remind us of all these good things and the peace. And the teacher who is here will confront us. Also, the good things and the peace and everything, but also having a spiritual teacher in flesh, their main job is to confront us and take us out of our misery and our inertia, you know? So things that Jesus that's not in flesh right now, they won't be like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah, and
you know?
in the culture where I come from, in India, there's a concept of realized masters who walk the earth, even till today, who have mastered sort of happiness, and then they are here to guide other people. And of course, there are a lot of fake charlatans too. You just have to recognize.
Choose your teacher. Like, there are bad mathematics teachers, there are bad English teachers, and there are good English teachers.
And you have to
Same
trust your
thing.
gut on when you see one and find one.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me you did a vision quest at the mountains.
Oh,
What was
yes.
that?
So a vision quest is when you spend 4 days by yourself in nature without eating or drinking anything. And it's a vision quest because you are there to understand better about yourself and do a cleansing of your body, your mind, and emotions. Just for you to understand the science behind the vision quest, for example, is that after fasting for 24 hours, your stem cells productions increase to the point that it starts you have gut repair after 24 hours. After 3 days of fasting, 72 hours, your systemic stem cells production increases, which means that after 72 hours of fasting, your whole body starts to be repaired because you produce new stem cells. So after 4 days, you're not only cleaning your body, but also through fasting, ketones are produced. And ketones are a best source of energy than glucose. So you are bringing the best source of energy to your brain. So that's why the brain fog goes away. You have more focus. You have more. You can see better. So that's why it's called the Vision Quest.
Was it hard to do that? Like 3 days of... Could you drink water?
No.
So then how did you survive?
So-
Because normal people can't live for more than, 3 days without water?
So my experience, when I did, other 44 people did together, like in different points of the mountain. And every single person has a different experience. My experience was is that like I have such a low blood pressure that every time that I get up, I have to make sure that I don't get up too fast because
You're short of blood.
Yes.
In parts of your body.
Yes. And then I started feeling that sensation the first day. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to faint. I'm going to die. And nobody's going to see me
So
here.
you were alone
and
in some
And they're going to find
mountain.
my body here 3 days, 4 days later. Oh my God, I'm going to die. And God is so amazing that at the location that I was, there was this very, very unique fly going back and forth, the same route over and over again. And I was like, I've never seen that before. And I made sure to sit far from them because I didn't know what that was. And then one of that, I was sick and afraid that I would faint and that I would die and nobody would find my body there. And one of those flies came at me right when I was thinking about that. And they were just in the same route all the time. And they changed the route and bumped me. And then I got up and I started fighting the fly. And then I was like, oh,
Yeah, the adrenaline
good.
kicked in so that you can actually
yes. So
keep your body
all
alive.
the power, all the power to be like energized and alive and feeling good, I had already inside of me. But my mind was telling me that I would die. I was like, shut up, mind. I can do this. And the fly came to show me.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm good. I got up. I didn't faint. My energy is back. He was like, It was my
Did
mind
you-
making a trick again.
Did you start dreaming about food after some time?
No. And there is a very interesting thing that happens during Vision Quest in CondorBlanco. And it's very important to say that Sujavan Solar got, he was allowed to do Vision Quests, like to lead Vision Quests to other people. He got this permission from the Dakotas here in United States. And he went through a lot of hardship and went through training to have this permission. So it's like body, mind, emotion, and spirit that
Why does he
learned.
need to take
So-
permission? Wait, to
because
do it in
there's-
Chile or do it
to,
here?
to do it.
Ah,
to
so it's
lead.
like permission
It's not
from
everyone
it's like a
who is allowed
honor,
to do it.
respect to
If I
ask for
come-
permission.
If I come to you, it's like, hey, fast for 4 days. I have to be well equipped to support you. I have to understand all the everything that can happen to and be able to support you. I don't want you to die after not eating.
But then you
How
got to
am
be
I
a doctor
tell
for
you?
that, right?
Um, yes,
understand.
and there is, we go through before starting, we go through a medical check. It's not everyone who can do it. It's correct. And there is also this spiritual support. And then coming back to your question about food, is that before we go up the mountain in the campsite, we choose one person to eat for us. And many fun things happen. Some people do not say what is your favorite food. Some people say it's like, oh, please eat honey. I love the honey from the mountain. It's like so pure. Like, eat the honey for me. And it's interesting because sometimes when we are up there and during the Vision Quest, we dream about lasagna. And then when we come back and talk to the person who was eating for us, they like, hey, how was it to eat for me? I was like, I don't know why, but I was dreaming about lasagna. And we have this connection that, how do you explain that?
So it's the brain waves, basically.
Exactly. And for example,
And you think
things
that
like,
that person eating that lasagna is going to satisfy you in some ways?
it does
apparently.
happen. It does happen because
Okay.
I haven't heard of anyone that went through a vision quest in CondorBlanco that were like hungry. I don't know of this testimonial, you know.
What do you say about people who think these communities are like just crazy fake communities and stuff
I
like
think
that?
people should be skeptical. I was skeptical. Even when people were telling me all good things, I'm like, okay. I was always keeping their opinion in a drawer in my brain, closing the drawer. If I need their opinion later, I will get it, but I will make my
So
own
you're not drinking the Kool-Aid
judgment.
without experiencing it yourself.
Yes. And the first thing that made me start to be like, two things. To start to put my whole foot in the water, not just the toe, was meeting the teacher and he like talking to me and telling things about my life that I haven't told anyone, things like that. And second, the tribe, we call the CondorBlanco tribe, comes from like indigenous roots and everything, so we call tribe. And when you arrive in the mountain there, you feel the love. You feel the love. And it's not like a peace and love in the clouds love. It's like, hey,
This is
I'm
summer
here
of
for you.
69 in Chile, you know?
It's
The hippies in Chile.
yeah, no, it's not
in
that.
some ways.
It's not the hippie love. It's like it's the bro thing we were talking about before.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, I'm here for you. Are you okay? Do you want me to show you around? Like I'm not like, oh yeah, no. It's like a grounded love, and those were the two things that I noticed as soon as I arrived that made me feel comfortable there in
So and the followers of this movement, are they everywhere or are they mostly in Chile, United States? I mean, how do people connect? Is it just an year, end of the year retreat in the mountains, or like how does people connect?
So they are everywhere, and they connect mostly in the mountain. in Chile, when there's like the summer programs and there are different schools, they have like 8 different schools. Coaching is just one school that CondorBlanco has. And that's very common for spiritual teachers to create different schools to pass on the knowledge. And so Javan Solar, another thing that I really like about him is that he is a shaman, but at the same time, he understands about business because he, back in the day, he had to buy the mountain, the land. It's like, how do I gain $500,000 to buy a land in Chile? So he came to his disciples and was like, hey, we are going to go into this Amway thing that's happening. People are making money. The first multi-level marketing company to exist, and the products were good, sustainable. So we are going to sell this until we get the money. As soon as we get the money to buy the mountain, we leave. And he became, he was the first to become diamond, like in the least amount of time. Like in 6 months, he became the diamond level of the Amway in the 70s, and got the money and left. And then all the disciples that were caught in the money, oh, but how so, Javan? We got all this money there, and we have this tree of people below us, and we can earn income from that. I was like, no. The goal was to get the money, buy the mountain, and leave the teachings in the mountain. So like his values really helped me to trust him more.
So much so that you almost changed your name. So tell us at the
yeah.
end of this segment,
So-
I'm going to stop with this on this segment. It's tell me about the name and name change.
So just like Jesus changed Simon's name to Peter to be the rock where his church would be built, the name has a very strong meaning for us.
Association in our minds.
Association. If someone calls me Caroline, I'm gonna have some response. If someone calls me Carol, which is the short in Portuguese, I'm gonna feel compelled to answer a certain way. The same thing for Simon. Before, his wife was calling him Simon, and he got some response. But now I'm Peter. I'm the rock. So if you have a calling, you're gonna, every time that someone calls your name, it is a calling. So you're being called to respond to that name, to that calling. So the meaning of your name, or whatever your name means to you, will lead you to a different life, right? So it doesn't mean that when when Simon became Peter, it's not that Simon is completely his life as Simon is completely, it's not there anymore. It's part of him. The same way that Caroline, I honor Caroline, but there are some aspects of Caroline that I can't be like that.
So what did you
anymore
change
for
it
me.
to?
So my spiritual name is Shalitari,
What does that mean?
and in short, Shalitari means blooming of light. But there is something that I also love about CondorBlanco, is that every letter has a name. Every has a meaning. Every syllable of my name has a meaning. And the Shalitari is a mission. So it's a calling to a mission. And I think that's how we should approach our names.
And this is not unique to, I think, the CondorBlanco, because even in some of the Eastern traditions, if you in the Hindu philosophies in India, if you become a monk, the master who actually gives you the initiation changes your name, and a lot of people find it very interesting on why somebody would do that. And that's, they say it's to kill your old ego, or kill your old because let's say a name like Peter will have different associations, and you being called something else will almost, like death of a name is death of an ego, is death of an identity. concept. So I find it interesting that that sort of concepts appear in various parts of the world as well. Well, with this, we're gonna end the whole spiritual segment of this conversation. We'll come back after a break for the next segment. Well, welcome to the last segment of our conversation. So you went from being an Brazilian marine, merchant marine, to discovering your purpose and spirituality that you decided to extend it to other people by coaching. And you mentioned about the training you took and sort of the you getting hooked onto it. And since then, what has happened in terms of what you do today?
So I started as a career coach because that was the training that I got to help me with my career, and then I learned more about social businesses in my master's in international business and disruptive innovation in San Francisco, and then I connected the two with my experience as a career coach, with that expertise of like, yes, I can help people to realize what they really truly should be doing on earth in this lifetime, or in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, one step at a time, right? What they should be doing now to feel fulfilled with the social business strategies to live a life that is fulfilling, earn money, and do positive impact. So that was how like my coaching practice unfolded.
So let me break it down. So who is a career coach?
So good question. A career coach is someone that helps first. What is coaching, right? Coaching is the word comes from the word coach. Like it was a
Yeah, the coach
the car.
For a soccer team, or
no,
like
even in the in
oh,
the
you're talking about the
60s
train
century,
coaches,
like the that little car
carriage, yeah, train coaches. That is attached to the engine.
Yes. So because it brings someone somewhere, right? That's the origin of the word. So coaching is a very selfless skill to help you have clarity of where you are and help you get somewhere else that you
Because the coaches in sports are pretty well known. I mean, there's a soccer coach and there's a basketball coach,
which
and
in this case is more like a trainer. It's confusing to me learning what coaching is and then learning that here in America, Americans use the word coach to train athletes, right? So in this case, coaches are trainers. And what trainers do? They have the skill, they know the skill that they have to teach to you and pass it on, right? So that's the trainer. Coaching is you can apply in any field. So it's a skill that you can apply in any field. And that skill can also become a profession. So you can be a leader coach, someone that's an executive, a leader, a manager that use coaching to help people or teams to go from one stage to another. So that's what coaching is. And career coach, and it's leading this in the professional realm.
And are these people starting out their career, or are these people who are mid-career and want to go to the next place, who come to you for these career coaching?
Career coaching can be for career transition. I'm not satisfied with my career. I don't know what is coming next, but I need change.
I'm a banker, but I want to be a rock star. I don't know how I can do it.
Things like that. Yeah. So there is that career transition, but there is also, I want to become a better professional at what I do.
But then, I mean, can't they go talk to the therapist? What is the difference between talking to a therapist and talking to a coach?
Good question. So therapy is focused on the past and treating traumas. And what can I do now to solve the past that is still with me? And coaching it's more towards the future. I know what I want to be, and what can I do now to get there? So you see, therapy is here, and coaching is there. It's like future oriented, and it's so much so that when someone comes to me to looking for coaching, if someone is too much in the past and victimizing and blaming people in the past, or it's only here talking about their past, they can't look at the future. They don't need a coach. They need a therapist. I can't even work with them because they're not ready to look at the future yet. So that is the main difference. And coaching can be therapeutic because if, as a career coach, for example, the goal, we focus on career. But if there is anything that's draining your energy, it might be a relationship with a spouse or spirituality, or I can't sleep, anxiety, anything that's draining your energy from our focus, it can also be looked at through the coaching lens. And if it's so deep, so ingrained, and so paralyzing that they can't move forward, that's a sign that they should bring that to therapy. So therapy and coaching work hand in hand.
Got it. So I know for a therapy, you could get a therapist license in California. Is there like a license that you need to have to be a coach, or was that anybody can be a coach?
In short, anybody can be a coach. In short. And
But anybody should be a coach, which is a different question. But,
as we were saying before, there are good English teachers, there are bad English teachers, period. There are good doctors, bad doctors. Same thing in any profession. So you don't need a license. However, to work for a platform, or to be linked to a company, or to be partners with a company, sometimes most of the time they ask for a certification.
The coaching is they don't have an official licensing requirement, I'm guessing, for coaching in California at least.
Yeah.
But you could get multiple coaching license. Would you also say that coaching is also some sort of professional therapy? I know you said therapeutic, but because I had a coach that was provided to me by one of my employers at a certain level. So for me, things I couldn't talk to my manager, or things I couldn't talk to my executives about, I could talk to that executive coach who almost like listened and gave coaching like a therapist would do, but in a professional setting. I was not talking about my personal issues, but more like professional issues. You think there is a sort of a
As I said,
professional angle to this?
Yeah, it is therapeutic because sometimes just by talking about the issue, you already figure out what you
you already know the solutions.
Yeah,
by
and
the time.
coaching, which is very different than mentorship or consulting, is our most powerful tool is asking questions. So we use logic. Okay, you got here, but I want them to get clarity through that topic, so we are going to go through that route. That's how I see in my head when I coach, through asking questions and bring them to clarity. So yes, there is there is a blurred line in there.
Between that,
However, I avoid using the word therapy because of the treatments, and there are different
You could get sued as a therapist there because you need
Exactly.
licensing and all that.
Exactly.
So in terms of coaching, other than career transitions, what do people come with issues, most common issues?
Most common is I'm confused. I don't know what to do next. I don't know what to do
In
next.
life or
and
in
it can be
career?
in life, it can be career, it can be relationship. There are relationship coaches, there are spiritual coaches that will guide you through spirituality. So the main concern is lack of clarity, and coach will bring clarity and a step by step, like, and actions in the present moment to reach that specific
Are
goal.
they
So that is
giving more
coaching.
because a lot of therapists just ask you leading questions and then you have to come up with your own answers? Or is it more do they are more prescriptive? Hey, do this, do that. Or what do you think we should do? As you know what
It's
therapists
not
do.
as like therapists would do, because there are many styles of therapists, right? There is the style, the one that only asks questions and lets you think, and the room may be silent for like 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
the therapist doesn't say anything. I'm like, so what should they do? So it's not like that. Coaching is more action, and what are we gonna do next to reach that goal? So it's more action taking exercises,
So more hands-on.
hands on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
the questions are they guide you. However, there is some confrontation too, because coaching it's a skill that it's a tool that's going to help you go really fast towards one direction. But as a good coach, a good coach wouldn't guide you to go really fast to a direction that you don't really want. Maybe it's still your inner father, your inner mother telling you that you should go there. But if you truly ask the right version of you, what you truly want, then I'm gonna lead you towards that direction, because I don't want you to get frustrated as you are right now, searching for solutions 2-3 years from now. You know, so I want to guide you to on a path that will bring fulfillment and success.
Got it. I know you said there's a methodology you use, Coaching Express. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's the methodology created by Surjavan Solar that became even leadership literature in universities in South America. And in a nutshell, Coaching Express focus on a holistic life. What does that mean? That every aspect of your life is equally important. Other methodologies, which I studied too, have you heard of Wheel of Life?
No, tell us what's the difference.
When you divide your life in sections, what would you put there? Work, personal, right? So most coaching methodologies, half or 40% or most of your wheel of life is work. A little bit personal, and then there is like a tiny bit that's like spirituality or philanthropy, or don't even talk about spirituality, right? So the Coaching Express divide the wheel of life in 4, and then 4, there are other 3 inside the 4, so 12 areas of life. And work is divided into resources. You open your options, not necessarily work, but like, what are my resources? Because that's entrepreneurship, right? Not necessarily you have to focus on work, but like, what do I have in front of me right now? What can I do with this and make things happen out of there, right? So, and spirituality is there, philanthropy is there, service, because that's what brings, that leads our fire. And because Surjavan Solar is very influenced by the indigenous culture, in the indigenous culture, what is the system that's the most holistic? The nature. Because the nature has cycles.
Integrated with the nature,
So
living and all that.
what are the elements of nature? Now we have the periodic table that we have so many elements, but before that, we had 4 elements in alchemia, right? The earth, the water, the
Fire.
air, and fire. So the areas of life are divided in this holistic, integral way of looking every aspect of life equally. Because if your earth, your body, your resources, your physical world is not aligned, your relationships with water, your emotions, how you connect with yourself, with your family, with
So
your
these
friends,
are the
with
balanced,
coworkers.
the wheel,
Yes, from
wheel of
Coaching
life.
Express. Yeah, so it's really understanding yourself, your elements inside of yourself,
Yeah.
and how do you connect with the four elements outside too.
Got it. So you added this whole social business aspect to your coaching, and you said you were inspired with your business degree. And what has been some examples of something that you have coached somebody on social business?
So I had the pleasure to work with the United Nations to launch social businesses in Africa, and in the same way that I found the social entrepreneurs there, their wishes, their desire to make a positive impact. I see that here in Silicon Valley. I see everywhere people want to do things, but it's really, really hard to find people that, okay, let's sit and talk about it. Let's see the resources that we have. Let's work on it. Let's make it happen. So, for example, when I coached the social entrepreneurs there, actually, I was contacted to consult their business, which is they send us the pitch deck, and as a team, we improve the business model. However, the culture in their city, in their country, was completely different than ours. So how can I, just by looking at a piece of paper, consult their business, right? So I proposed to the United Nations to coach that entrepreneur, and that was like the first time that they heard about coaching in that setting. And I was like, yeah, you can contact them, you can talk to them. And like, I was like, okay. And then in one session that I asked the entrepreneur, how is your lifestyle? What do you do for work? If we change your business model now, how would you be able to actually accomplish, like execute, like what is how is your life right now? And just through that simple coaching session, I came back to my team. I was like, guys, that's the direction that we should go. And then from that program, they do that program like every year. And our team was the only one from the program that that the social entrepreneur was like, oh my God, yes, that's what I needed. Like, you could see the excitement. You could see that, oh my God, that's really gonna work, and I'm gonna apply it. That makes sense to my life and to my community, to
Yeah.
my reality, So so consulting, like talking about like the social business and the coaching, consulting in social business, it is a good tool. However, if you don't see the human aspect, the coaching aspect, if you don't see the reality of the social entrepreneur, they don't really work in reality.
And just to get people to understand the social business a little bit, I know you talked about an example of Favela Express. Like, could you tell what that company does, and
Yeah,
why
I
is it a good
love-
example of social business?
Yeah, so Favela Express is a delivery company, and they are a social business.
It's like Uber Eats.
Who would tell, right? That a delivery company could be a social business. So what happens that the founder, he grew up in the favela, and then he came to the United States, studied, and then he came back with a different eyes of entrepreneur and business and everything. And then he noticed that people in the favelas, they were ordering online. There were consumption. People were spending money, because that's a myth in social business, that we think that poor people don't have money. They do have money, and they consume. And he noticed that the stores were not delivering to the favelas because the favela didn't have address, and it didn't even have a map to go into the favela to deliver something, it disappeared. The Google map disappears. Like, I'm not as a delivery person, I'm not gonna enter somewhere that I don't even know.
I've gone to some of the favelas in Rio, where you're from. What's that? The big one that starts with? It's in between the. It was one of the biggest slums in Latin America. I'm trying to remember the name, but anyways, so going up there was a little. People are, you crazy going up to these favelas, and these are not well served. But
And people who were, and he realized that they were even paying more to get it delivered because they had to send to a friend who lived in downtown and then take 2 buses, go to downtown, pick up the package that a friend did a favor of receiving the package, and then taking other 2 buses, coming back, sometimes like buying a TV and something super big they could get robbed on the way. So they pay more for they are poor, they pay more, and they have more energy and effort to get access to things. That's one aspect of social business is enabling access to service as well. So what he did, first, he created a map of the favela. He put the numbers in the houses. There was no number. So he created a team, put the numbers, created a map, and...
Was he from a favela?
He was from Paraisópolis. That's the first favela that he started the business. And then the money aspect.
Rocinha was the...
Rocinha.
Rocinha was the favela I was visited. Okay.
So, and in any business, the main question in the traditional way of doing business, the main question is, how do we make money out of this? Are we gonna charge the poor people? So the thing is, they ended up charging the poor people, however, through the delivery fee that they were already paying. So they made partnerships with the huge retailers in Brazil to attach Favela Express to their system. And then when they had to deliver the packages to the favelas, they would do the internal delivery. So he created jobs in the favela. So people who does the delivery, they have to be people who live in the favela because they know where the houses are. So he created jobs. He increased the sales of the retailers. So another myth. People think that social business is waste of money. However, the retailers, they created a blue ocean. It was a blue ocean. It was a market that was not well explored because there were people there willing to buy and to pay for their service, but they didn't have access. And now they have access. And then imagine in one day, Black Friday, they delivered 12,000 packages in one day. In one favela. Imagine now multiplying that business model to
so they
all
opened
the
up
favelas.
new markets that were previously unavailable. But then people also argue, what if I start a coal mine in a town in rural West Virginia and I'm creating jobs? Am I running a social business?
So that's another, that is another concept in social business, which is creating jobs is not per se social impact. Because you can create jobs. However, what else are you doing? What is the impact of those jobs? How are you treating those people?
They're spending that money somewhere else. And, people have dignity and people have money. People take care of their families. So where do... I could argue that Walmart, Fortune 1 company in the world, is doing social business because they're actually reducing the cost of toilet papers for the poorest of the poor in America and around the world. Are they in social business?
So there are different ways of creating positive impact. But a social business is only a social business if it is created focused on the impact and not focused on the money. So you can't turn a Microsoft into a social business. But there are other 4 ways of creating positive impact. So social business is one specific type of business that's operated in a specific way, and it's open to innovation. You can create your
But is it a for-profit or
income.
non-profit?
It is for profit. However, there are different ways of operating that profit. So
So it's
you
like a
can
B
become.
Corp. So there's a concept of B Corporation in
So
America.
there is the concept of B Corp. However, a social business is even more open to innovation. You can become rich doing social business if that is
yeah.
your question. And the founder of the concept of social business, the person that first created this concept, is called Muhammad Yunus. He even won a Nobel Prize.
He's the interim prime minister of Bangladesh now.
Yeah,
I have a
so
photo with him.
he
I'll show it
created
to you.
microfinance, and so he focused on poverty, which is one type of positive impact. I like the framework of the United Nations, the 17 Sustainable
SDGs.
Development Goals. It's a good framework to see the global challenges, and poverty is one of them. So when he launched this concept, he tried to define it pretty well for people to do not explore it, to do not have greenwashing and all this stuff. So when he created that definition, he was really focusing on the poor. So if you want to help the poor, read Muhammad Yunus' books. He has like very specific framework and definitions and how to run those companies. However, when you're not working with the poor, when you're creating, you focus on climate change, you focus on other aspects, we still need and want innovation. That's why I called social innovation. I prefer to say social innovation than social business strategies because it is a new market. 3% of the entire businesses in the world are social business already. However, we have a market that now Stanford Social Innovation Review released this year that by 2030, this market will be even bigger than AI, even bigger than any other market that I've seen. It will be valued $72 trillion. I haven't seen any statistic that show that AI will be closer than that.
Well, we'll link the Stanford study that you said. For a lot of people who are wondering about the different ESG and CSRs and social business and innovations, and one good sort of term I've heard is if you focused on the bottom of the pyramid and you're doing something good, of course it makes business sense, and that's a good social business / innovation. Okay, we will get to the conclusion of this segment with I'm going to call it a tricky question for you. Somebody wants to be coached into going into Brazilian merchant marine. What would you say? You'd say just avoid it because it's like not doing, it's
any
evil.
person that comes to me with one specific goal, and I always, to work with me, they have to be open to self-awareness first. Because I would, if we agreed that we are fit and then we would work together, the first thing that I would do with anyone is challenge that goal. Tell me more about that. Why do you want to become, what do you want to gain out of that? 3 years from now, how would your life be? When you're dying, looking back, what would you regret not doing now that you should be doing now? So everybody that comes to me, I would challenge their goal first. Are we 100% sure that that's what you want? Let's get there as fast as possible. I'm with you. Because coaching is the art and science of coaching. And the art, for me, is looking into my client's eye and seeing the truth. If your eyes are shining, like if your fire, as I said, the 4 elements, if your fire is lit and you really, truly, genuinely want that goal, I am with you. Your goal is my goal. Your dream is my dream. Let's go together. I'm gonna help you get there as fast as possible, the smartest way possible, and the most fulfilling way possible. Let me learn more about you, and we are going to build a plan together for you to potentialize your life.
Well, on that note, we will tag where we can reach Caroline for career coaching and other leadership coaching, etc. So thank you so much for being on the show, and it was fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun too.